I am Miles the Millennial.
And it's your boy Rex Howard Jr.
And it's Coach Lauren Jackson. And we are live on two Instagram pages
Yeah,
and YouTube. You
I'm
guys'
looking at it
YouTube
right
channel.
now.
All
Yep, that's
right.
awesome. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys know what's about to happen. We're about to have a powerful conversation. The three of us, we pour really deeply into your personal development as well as your relationship development. And this is the space where we have really powerful conversations to help you grow. So, today's topic is going to be how to win as a couple in 2025. I'm super excited for it. Um, we have a lot planned for you guys, but before we jump into that conversation, we have to tell you guys we're launching our newsletter. So, what we need for you guys to do is to go to those links in our bios and sign up for that newsletter. It's really quick, doesn't take you more than 30 seconds for you to fill out your information so you can get up to date information on everything that we have going on. You'll never miss a live, you'll never miss any of our services and how we're going to be there to help you. So, make sure you guys are ready and signed up for that. Go do that now. Click that button and come right back for us.
Yeah, let's get it.
How are you guys doing today? Rex, how's your week been? Lauren, how have you been?
I mean, I've been good. I feel like this week has been slow, but it's been steady.
Mm,
Building on my clientele, I had a lot of great sessions, a lot of big conversations with a lot of clients and their parents, and
mm,
um, more wedding talk with my lady. So it's been good.
yeah,
Hey.
I love it. I love it. What about you, Coach?
Uh, it feels like it's steady, but it's just been busy. Like, but I will say the last 2 days, I have eased into my day. Um, I have started. I don't like to start like coaching and working with people until like
Mhm.
after 10 o'clock in the morning. I think my brain is fully together. I know the prayer call is at 5 a.m. But your girl really don't start living my best life till about 10.
Yeah,
So
but
so it's been good to like ease into my day.
that's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I've had a good week. Lord is setting me up for a lot of success right now. So it's just been a good wave that I'm riding. I'm just trying to keep it going.
And
But I,
y'all been dropping content, bro. Like the
yeah.
content y'all been dropping. I'm like, let me hear her come on here and hear her get some content outside for my brothers get on me.
Hey, look, you know it was coming. I was literally thinking the other day. I'm like, where you at, Coach? We're gonna need some more. We're
I'm
gonna
telling.
need some more of that heat.
And then I knew with everybody having a fear that TikTok was shutting down, it was the
Mhm.
best time to start pushing content to Instagram because everybody was gonna be coming.
Yep. I think we're all focused on making sure we're growing Instagram, YouTube, mail list. All that stuff is so important. Even for the viewers, for you guys watching, this is helpful for you guys because when you're dealing with any business that you're doing, you want to be able to own your viewership and own your following, guys. Don't put yourself in a position where TikTok can end everything for you. So, um, we're excited to be back with another episode. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I know what you're about to do, Rex.
Like, man, ain't never. All right, bet. Well, let's get these questions started. Once again, guys, if you're tapped in, you have any questions, you got anything that you want to say, please drop it in the chat. You have any questions, drop it in the chat. Any comments, share it with a friend, and let's get this bad boy rolling. So, question number one, it says, "What does winning together actually mean in a relationship, and how do couples define success in 2025?" So, Coach, if you want me to, I can go ahead and crank this bad boy up.
Go ahead, and I'm right behind you.
Absolutely. So, of course, winning, to me, the first thing that comes to mind is alignment, right? In order to win, I need to be aligned. We need to be on the same page. We need to be on the same page with, what our financial plans are for the year. We need to be on the same page with what our spiritual goals are for the year and how we're trying to grow. We need to be on the same page with how we want to manage the home, right? How do we want to make it look? How we want to make it feel? We just need to be on the same page, even when it comes to sex and intimacy, right? If we go into this year trying to withhold, if we go into this year trying not to be mindful of boundaries or be mindful of money or how we're going to go about our goals, then we can't set ourselves up for winning. So I think winning together and winning in relationships looks like alignment and what Coach Lauren always says, it looks like oneness. So I'm not going to share too much, but go ahead, Coach. What you got?
Can you hear us, Coach?
Uh-oh.
We can't hear you at all.
You know, well, you know, he just
Sorry, I accidentally hit mute by
Oh,
accident.
there we go.
But I was saying you always in my business. Like it's always great alignment when it's not. Like this, y'all, this is so unscripted. So it is very raw, but I will say this. I was studying alignment today. Literally, that's what made me laugh. And I was really looking at it from a space of like what creates alignment. Because I was dealing with content, of course, like we kind of talks about. And so something that you touched on, I'm gonna take it a step further. So if you know me, I love to talk in mathematical algebra equations. So I wrote an equation today that says communication plus connection times commitment equals alignment. So what that looks like, if we're talking about it like math, it looks like 1 plus 1 in the brackets. Come on, algebra people. Times 2, because it's what? Two parts functioning as one, right? So 2 parts. So if you multiply that number equals 3. And 3 equals the three-stranded cord that is not easily broken. And so one of the things that when we talk about what does winning together look like, we have to be able to have something to put that up against. And so anytime we're struggling with communication, then we're struggling with connection. And if we're struggling with connection, we're going to be struggling with commitment. It's no different from, no shade for the people that just started working out January 1. We want you to continue to work out. Keep coming to the gym. We like seeing you. But if we don't make it a habitual thing where we start liking this, like we fall in love with the habit, then our commitment for it will fall apart. And so when we talk about what does winning look like, I'll end it here. One of the things that equates to oneness, and you can read this in Genesis 2, the breakdown says that anytime you have a lack in emotional intimacy, spiritual intimacy, or intellectual intimacy, physical intimacy will lack. I'm gonna do the math on that for you one more time. So if you have a negative in your intellectual intimacy, a negative in your emotional intimacy, and a negative in your spiritual intimacy, it will equal 0 physical intimacy. So when you're thinking about your goals, please understand, if you want to have true long-lasting connection, those 3 buckets have to be hit.
That's good.
That's real good, actually. What you got, Moss?
Man, because you guys have taken the approach that I would have taken, I'm going to try and hit it from a different way. I think that for me, winning together means learning how to suffer well, in the words of I can't remember, Lonnie and Latoya Walker, learning how to suffer well. When she said that, that really impacted me and stuck with me. Learning how to suffer well, because in relationships, in marriages especially, you're going to go through time periods where it isn't all good, right? On all the things that you guys are talking about, you're going to face challenges. The plan and the goal that you guys align on as you're walking on that journey together and you're communicating, you're going through that connection, there are going to be moments where challenge is going to come. There's going to be moments where you're going to have to be the one sacrificing, and the other person is going to have to be the one that's really reaping the benefits of it in that moment. And then those roles will reverse at other times. And learning how to suffer well and to embrace the challenge and to really welcome the fact that, like, yeah, I know we're going through a tough time right now, but that's going to make us better. Taking that mindset into every single thing that you do this year with your partner really sets the tone for you guys to be stronger against all challenge. I think about times where, even with my lady now, it's a point where when I'm too hyped up on something and I'm upset about something, she'll sit there and say, baby, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that means something, bro, because when you're used to, especially as a man, always having to be the one that calms that down, or always having to be the one to say it's not the end of the world, it's a special feeling when you know you're in a partnership where both people have that mindset. And it's like, look, right now, you need to hear this. You need to hear that we're going to get out of this. That whatever it is that you're facing right now, we're going to walk this road together and we're going to put God in front of this and let him direct every single step that we take. We're going to come out on the other side stronger. And so I would say success, winning in 2025 as a couple looks like learning how to suffering well. And success looks like when you're getting towards those goals, being able to say that we're further than where we started from, because you might not reach that goal by the end of 2025. We don't know the timetable the Lord has for our plans. We can tell him all we want, but he's going to be the one that determines whether it aligns and whether it's going to happen, or if he wants it for us or he doesn't. And so I think the real big thing is to assess success by looking at where you were and looking at where you are and saying, are we better off in our communication, in our connection, in our commitment than where we were when we started this year?
Man, you just said a whole lot. You just said a whole lot, and you said a lot of things that make sense. And one thing I want to add to that is one thing that's going to allow for your relationship to have success in 2025 is dropping the me for we, right? It's not about you no more, right? Yes, you have feelings, but what do you guys need as a couple, right? Yes, you want to take a trip, but what does the budget look like for the both of you guys, right? Yes, there's things that you want to do, there's places that you want to go, there's things that you want to accomplish, there's a bigger house that you want to have, there's different things that you want to buy, but what do we need as a couple? Right? And if you adopt that we mindset, then you and your partner can have more alignment. You can be more in tune. You can see each other for who you really are, and you can see their heart. But if you adopt that me mindset, then you operating in selfishness. You're only going to make decisions based on what feels good for you, what sounds good for you, what pleases you, what pleases your flesh, right? You're going to go spend a little bit longer time with your friends and not really be mindful of the house curfew because it's about me and it's not about we. So I think if you really want to win in 2025, then you have to drop the me and you have to adopt and get comfortable with we.
That's good.
That's good. Okay. Bet. So listen, let's go ahead and jump into number 2. How can couples maintain passion, intimacy, and connection in a world that is constantly pulling them in different directions? So once again, how can couples maintain passion, intimacy, and connection in a world that is constantly pulling them into different directions? Coach, what you got?
Felt you coming my way. Intentionality. And intentionality is the top one. Well, intentionality is the top one. The top followed one is systems. So one of the things that I have been doing a lot of studying around, and it's actually something I do with my clients, is really focusing this year on creating a system that solves the problem, but not tries to fix your person. I think a lot of times we're trying to like solve for, we need to fix this, fix that, or fix the person, when the truth is we need to fix the system. And so just like your job has it on the calendar, what time for you to come to work and what time to leave, you need to have it on the calendar, what time, what date we're going on our date night, and decide on a rule that fits good for you. I've been challenging my couples here in the last week to utilize the 2-2-2 rule. Every 2 weeks we go on a date and the opposite person plans it. So ladies, no, it is not his job to plan every date night. I'm going to dispel the myth. Okay. He want to feel special too. Every 2 months you go on a weekend getaway, and then every 2 years you go on a week vacation alone. So intentionality plus systems is what's going to keep you together in a busy world that wants all of your attention.
That's good.
That's real good. Miles, what you got?
Man, I would say first, if the world is getting in the way, you need isolated time away from the world, right? It's very hard to have that, and you're always in spaces that are so noisy. And I mean that not just from a volume perspective physically, but noisy mentally because there's so much hustle and bustle that you can't even focus on each other, or noisy emotionally because everybody got an opinion and everybody feel a type of way, right? Really having time where it's you and your person and nobody else, and you can really experience each other in isolation. I think that that grows passion and connection. The second thing is spontaneousness, right? Because to Coach's point, the system is so important. But one thing that always helps that system really take it to the next level is the moments where you do something that isn't in the normal routine just for the sake of saying I love you and we're going to keep this routine going, but I care enough to where I wanted to give you a little extra. Right? I just wanted to give you a little reminder. I think that the aspect of being surprised by the fact that your partner was thinking of you in a way that you didn't communicate means a lot, right? Now, what keeps you together is the system. But what can raise it to another level sometimes is doing something spontaneous, right? And the last part about that is address the root emotional needs. So many times we try to address needs by what we speak them as physically, right? Sometimes we address connection by saying, okay, well, let's have sex. But what if the sex isn't what's necessary? Sometimes we address the need by saying, okay, let's go out on a date. But what if the date isn't what's necessary? Sometimes we address it by saying, okay, let's watch the movie. What if the movie isn't necessary? Like, what is the real emotional root that's taking place? Okay, this person feels deprived of your time and your attention. And they don't necessarily need to go out into the world around a bunch of other people. What they need is 30 minutes of your time when you get off work, where it's just you and them talking, or even you just being quiet and listening to them talk, just holding them, whatever it is. Had that circumstance happen just this past week because in me and my girlfriend's journey of not going and having sex and abstaining, that leaves a really big open door for what does connection look like? What does intimacy look like? And I have to set rules because I know my flesh. So when I say I'm not coming over, I can't spend the night, like, because I know what's gonna happen if I spend the night. Now it's like, okay, well, if you're not spending the night, when do we have deep time with each other to really just be still? Because you work, I work, we don't stay super close to each other. It's a 40-minute drive there, 40-minute drive back. And I had to sit there and say, okay, if you really want to have this connection, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices, Smile. Like, I don't know what way you're gonna do, but you're gonna have to sacrifice something because the way that she's portraying the way she feels right now is real, but you can't compromise your commitment to God to meet it. You're gonna have to find something else to do it. So that's a real deep aspect of it, is addressing the emotional need, because it's not the sex that makes it feel special between us. It's the intimacy, the act of two people wanting each other. How do we create that and keep a promise to God? So yeah, address the root emotional need.
Yeah, that boy, a round of applause. Well, listen, I love it. I love it. I'm gonna add three things, right? And I'm gonna take my time because I tend to get excited and I tend to talk fast. So I really want y'all to hear me when I say this. So the question is, how can couples maintain passion, intimacy, and connection in a world that is constantly pulling them in different directions, right? Number one is constant communication, right? I need to communicate with you when I feel like I'm drifting. I need to communicate with you when I feel like we're not spending enough time. I need to communicate with you when I need more quality time, or I need more love. I need more affection. I need more attention. I need to communicate with you if things are going left at work, right? If too many people are in my ear and it's starting to become distracting, I need to communicate with you because once again, if your partner doesn't know what's going on in your world,
Mhm.
you know, they don't know how to show it for you,
Yeah.
right? So one of the biggest ones is constant communication about what's happening, what are you needing, what are you desiring, and that goes into even if I need more spontaneity, then I'm going to communicate that. Number two is not depriving each other, right? If you guys are constantly in conflict, right, and you weaponize your sex and pleasure, you say, well, because we're not on point, you're not getting none of this, right? Or as a man, you say, because I feel this way about you, I'm good on having sex at all. You know that sex leads to connection, intimacy leads to connection, and you take it off the table for the period of time, then your flesh in your marriage is going to get weak, right? Whether you turn to pornography and masturbation, whether you turn to your toys, whether you turn to what's on social media, or whether you turn to another person, right?
Mhm.
So even the Bible talks about not depriving each other unless you're spending time with God, right? So it's number two is not depriving your partner. And then number three is constantly learning your partner, not just today or tomorrow, but in every single season. And every season we're going to be different people, right? I may like to be cuddled in this season, but the next season I may want to be the small spoon. I may want to be the big like things are going to change in different seasons. There may be a season that I'm sick. There may be a season where I'm completely healthy. There may be a season where I pick up some weight. But I need you to learn me and love me in every single season. If I know that you can learn me and love me in these seasons, then you're constantly growing. You're constantly curious. You're constantly asking questions. And I constantly feel connected because you're interested in me and I'm interested in you and we're interested in each other. If we have those three, there's no way that we can be pulled away by what the world is doing. It doesn't matter what the world is saying or what social media is being posted or what people say, this is what a man, this is what a woman's supposed to do, because you and your wife, y'all already know what y'all do that works for y'all.
Yeah.
So those are going to be three that I add. So communication, not depriving one another, and also continue to learn each other in each season.
That's good, brother. That's real good.
Coach, you look like you got something you want to say.
I was all leaning in. No, I think y'all tapped it. I think y'all definitely tapped it.
Okay. Okay. So I think both you guys, just coming from the coaching perspective, are going to like this question. Um, well, pause. Let me pause for a second. Is there anything in the comments that we need to see
Oh
that we need?
yeah, let me check it out.
I don't see anything on Instagram just yet. Drop your comments, people. Anything you have to say, questions, please add them in. We will answer them.
Oh, we did pin to the link for the for you to subscribe to our newsletter as well. So we got those pinned in.
Absolutely.
Right, bet. So we're good.
I think we're good to go. No,
All right.
no comments, right?
Okay, cool. Question number three. What are some of the biggest mindset shifts singles need to make in order to prepare for a healthy relationship in 2025?
Oh yeah, this is good.
Yeah. So once again, what are some of the biggest mindset shifts singles need to make in order to prepare for healthy relationships in 2025? And why you guys think, because I really want you guys to pour into this. I recently just had a conversation with one of my guys, literally right before our call, and he said, it was like, how do you feel about marriage, man? How are you feeling about you and your lady? How do you feel about taking the next steps? Or is there anything that you're worried or fearful of? And I said, you know what? The day I decided that I wanted to marry her, the day I decided that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her, I decided that I accepted what came with her, right? And what comes with that person is their belief system, is their behaviors, is their family, right? And everything that's attached to them. I said, I accepted her with the notion that I'm not trying to change you. I don't want you to become something that you're not. And I don't want you to become something that I've had before, right? I've accepted that. So going along with that question, what are some mindset shifts? The mindset shift is if you're going to decide to date somebody, be intentional, you're looking for a husband, you're looking for your wife, going with the mindset that I'm going to be the most authentic version of me, and I'm going to accept the most authentic version of them, right? I'm going to ask the right questions and I'm going to become the right person. Because if I become the right person, then I'm going to be in alignment with the right person for me. But if I don't become the right person, I'm going to consistently adapt and like mold myself almost like a chameleon. I'm going to become whatever that person needs me to be. And that's not true to yourself. That's not true to God. And that's not who God has created you to be. He didn't create you to adapt to somebody else. He created you to find a person that's in alignment, somebody that you're equally yoked with. So I think that's just a small mindset shift is going into this year, going into these new relationships. Remember that if you constantly become the right person, be the most authentic version of yourself, and then allow for them to be that. And then if you decide to be with that person, accept who they are and what they come with, and don't try to change them, I think you'll find success.
It's good. That's amazing, bro.
What you got?
Man, first off, that comment that you made about one, like, I'm not trying to change you and make you something I've had before or into somebody I want you to be. Like, that's real, because it is so easy when you're dealing with the different growing pains that come with two people being completely different to want to have that person just alter themselves and be the picture perfect version of what you want them to be. But that wouldn't be real love, right? That wouldn't be the true process of acceptance and growth and really developing with one another. So I love the way that you put that. What I will say is, first, are you ready for my fellas? Are you ready to be a true leader? Because the weight of that is no joke. And it's not a thankful job. Now, for the women that are out there, are you ready to actually be the type of person that a man wants to lead? Now, he has to do that anyway. Like, he has to make that decision for himself. But are you ready to be the type of person that can be led? Are you ready to be the type of person that when a man is leading, you know how to empower that? Right. And I think that's a critical part of the conversation, because for the fellas, being a leader is a thankless job, which means whether you get recognition for it or you don't, whether it's called out and acknowledged, you got to show up every single day and you got to give your all. And for the ladies, are you in a position to where you can show up and praise that man and uplift him for the things that he does, even when it's not easy or convenient? I saw a video of a lady talking about how the thing that caused her to be kinder to her husband in the midst of arguments is remembering that, okay, this version of him that I don't like in this 1%, 2% moment, I need to reinforce who he is the other 98% of the time and
That's
remember who I'm talking to. I'm not talking to the man that just pissed me off. I'm talking to the husband that showed up for me when my tire blew out and he left his work meeting to come take care of me and made me safe. I'm talking to the person that when I went through all my struggles with the baby, he made sure he sacrificed in whatever way possible to make sure I was taken care of. Like, that is the balance. And there's no, quote unquote balance, but of course, like, that is the journey that you're going on with each other. The second thing is something that, Rex, we're going to talk about at a certain point in our podcast. But like, people always say they will die for their partner, but can you live for them?
Can you live for them though?
Can you live for them? And what I mean by that is, you would die for them. You put yourself on the front line to take a bullet for that woman or for that man. But would you live for them and change all the things that are killing you slowly? Would you stop drinking? Would you stop smoking? Would you stop masturbating? Would you stop being in a dysfunctional relationship with the Lord? Would you stop going out and partying? Would you stop doing all the things that are detrimental to the life that you need to live to be the partner that you need to be for them? And that's a serious question that I think people need to ask. Yeah, you died for that person, but would you live for them? Would you become a better person in life for that person? That's the real question that I think a lot of people need to ask yourself, because that's going to reveal to me, if you're talking to me, that's going to reveal to me where you're really at in terms of, wanting to walk in a relationship that's going to lead towards marriage. Yeah. And I'll end it with this story. I saw Nuri Muhammad talk about it on Nick Cannon's podcast. Nuri Muhammad said the story of the comb and the watch. He said there was a woman who had really long hair. She was a wife. She had really long hair, almost touched the floor. And man, her husband came home from work and she says, to her husband, I need this comb, this really special comb. It's expensive, but I need this special comb to be able to comb my hair. And the husband is like, hey, babe, as much as I want to do that for you, I would, but I got to get my watch fixed, right? Because that watch is how I make my money at work and whatnot. Once I get the watch fixed and I get some hours in, I can, we can figure out how to get your comb. The man leaves the next day to go to get his watch fixed. And when he's at the shop, he's talking to the watch guy and he's like, how much would you give me for this watch? The guy told him how much and he sold his watch. He took the money to then go buy the comb. Came home to his wife and is so excited, babe, look what I got you. You know what I'm saying? I sold my watch, this, that, and that. And the wife comes out and she's bald now, right? And the wife is sitting there and she's bald. And the husband says, why would you do this? Why'd you cut your hair? Like, I came and got this for you to make sure you were good. She said, well, you said you needed a watch. So I cut my hair and I sold it and I bought you a watch.
Yeah.
And that's a story of two people that care so much about the other person being in a space where they can function, where they can succeed, and where they can prosper, that they both sacrificed for each other. They both gave of what they wanted for themselves to make the other person and the collective be successful.
Good.
If you're not willing to be the man that sold his watch to make sure that his wife got what she needed, and if you're not ready to be the woman who cut her hair to make sure her husband got what he needed, then you're not ready to walk into a relationship.
You ain't ready. That's good. That's powerful. I watched that just last week.
Man, so powerful.
Why y'all ain't send it to me?
I just came across the clip today, so I'm blaming Rex. He had a week.
Coach, what you got over there?
Man, that was good. That was so good. Let me just hold space for that. I hope y'all felt that like I felt it. Because that was really good. So one of the things that I wrote down, well, two of the things I wrote down was marriage is transformational, not transactional.
Mm.
And so what are you ready to transform in your life that only happens when the other person is in it? Because there's certain things that aren't going to happen because the other person's not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But when that person shows up, there are some transformational things that have to happen, but that will only happen when you have the right person. And you've got to be ready to give that thing up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. The other thing was what exponentially grows because we're together.
Mm.
Because I should see an exponential growth in my goals, in my relationship with myself, God, and others because of that. And it goes back to that 1 Corinthians 13 about love is, right? If love is patient, love is kind, I should see a growth in my love is patient and love is kind. Love is not rude. Love doesn't keep a record of wrong. I should see my increase in those areas, but I also should see my increase in my impact. Because even in the math equation that I gave you around communication, connection, and commitment, I said 1 + 1 in the circle. In the parentheses is communication and connection. And I said times 2, which means because it's outside of the parentheses, you don't start with it first if you're doing algebra.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that means you both have to come in as one, a whole one, not 0.5.
Good.
Now you can do 0.5 in the equation if you want to, okay? 0.5 in the parentheses. Because again, algebra said you can't start from what's outside the parentheses.
Yeah.
That's the rule. And so you're gonna see that you're gonna fall short. And instead of having 3, you may have 2.5.
Yeah.
And so really deciding, what is going to truly grow because you're with this person, because I do believe that partnership should create purpose.
That's good. Partnerships should create purpose. That's good.
I like that a lot. Both of y'all said some very powerful stuff. Look, I'm over here taking all kind of notes on my stick. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
Not playing around. That's why I love us. That's why I love us.
And take, like, even the note taking is a gem, simply because this is a part of learning your partner, right? When your partner says certain things or they note certain things, you want to write it down. Okay, boom, she says she liked that color. Okay, boom, she says she liked that restaurant. Okay, boom, she says she hates it when I raise my voice, but she loves it when I do this. Write it down so it can be stuck in your memory.
Yeah.
You got to study your partner. You have to study your marriage. You have to study, because if you don't study, you're not progressing.
Yeah.
You are not progressing. As a marriage counselor, there's so many things I see. I see a lot of men that come in here because their wives are ready for divorce, and now they're lost in the sauce. Like, what's I don't understand. This is what she wants. I don't agree with it. But if you don't agree with it, why don't the fruit of your relationship show that you don't agree with it? Right. The book I've been reading, it said a lot of men walk around in their relationships almost like unconscious to the fact that their partner needs them. Their partner needs your love. Your partner needs more than a provider. Your partner needs more than you being able to pay for stuff, being able to drop flowers off. She needs intimacy. She needs connection. She needs emotional support. She needs safety. right? She needs to know that you're willing to be spontaneous. She needs to know that you're willing to hear what she's saying and go do something about it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we don't do that if we ain't writing it down.
That's good.
So,
That's good, bro.
little note, quick little note.
That's why them journals you got are so important too.
Come on, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. So, boom, let's go ahead and drop to the next question. That was question number 3. Here's number 4. Uh, how does social media impact relationships today? And what strategies can couples use to prevent comparison, jealousy, or unrealistic expectations? I'm gonna ask this one more time. How does social media impact relationships today? And what strategies can couples use to prevent comparison, jealousy, or unrealistic expectations? This is a good one.
Hmm. Who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead. You know me.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll
Hit
be
that.
right behind you.
I always take the charge. So, how can couples? No. How does social media impact couples' relationships? So, on a simple level, um, everybody wants what they see, right? Sight breeds desire, right? If you love to travel and all your friends are outside traveling, then you're going to put pressure on your partner and your relationship to go travel. If a lot of your friends are starting to have kids and get married and buying houses, you're going to put a lot of pressure on your relationship to start getting married, start having kids, and start buying houses, right? If you see people in there talking about what they made in one day or 1 hour trading Forex or trading this, you're going to look at your personal situation and say, damn, why are we not making that kind of money? Why don't we live that kind of life, right? Um, that's the impact of social media. It's going to influence you to have something, to want something that everybody else has, but you don't really know what it took for them to even get to that point. You don't know what it cost them, and you don't know what they're actually doing on the backside. You don't know how successful or unsuccessful that relationship is, right? Social media broadcasts the fact that a lot of people are public successes but private failures.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens
Mm-hmm.
when you make social media the focus. So, how can couples prevent that from being jealous? You know who you are, you know whose you are, right? You know you have an identity in Christ. You already know that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You're making the amount that you're making, the money that you're supposed to be making. If you want more, you just got to do more, and you got to become more, right? And for your relationship, is continue to affirm your partner, because you may, your wife or your partner may come into a season where she may not look like what she looked like a couple years ago, but everything she see on social media makes her think she has to be snatched, makes her think her eyebrows or her nails got to look a certain way. But it's you affirming your partner, saying, telling her how beautiful she is, especially when she wake up top of the morning with the bonnet on her head, no makeup on her face, you know what I'm saying, with her pajama pants on. It's continuing to love on her. It's continue to rub on her, is continue to show up for her in ways that she's not looking for affirmations or reassurance outside the relationship, right? And it's also making sure that you guys are working together. You have aligned goals. It goes with the point number 1. How do you create success in relationship? You have goals that you guys are working towards, and you can clearly see that you guys are making progress towards those goals, because nobody wants to be in a stagnant relationship. Nobody wants to know that their partner isn't working. They lack motivation. They don't want to be better. They don't want to improve their social life. They don't want to improve their physical appearance. But everything on social media says that that's what you're supposed to be doing. So if you want to prevent that, then you lock in on who you are. You lock in on whose you are, and you continue to pour into each other, so that the pouring doesn't come from outside the relationship. It comes from inside the relationship.
That's good. That's good. So
So
rock that.
yeah, that was really good. And you said something that it made me, of course, had to Google um to take it a step further to the how what the word talks about covetousness.
Mhm.
When we are in the spirit of covetousness, meaning like you are desiring what someone else has, by definition it is an extreme desire to possess more than what is needed or deserved, especially material wealth.
That's good.
And I can drop the whole list of scriptures. Okay, Romans 7:7, um, James 4:2. Like, this is a really big. It's actually a pretty big, serious offense of the Bible, and the reason being is because if you're so busy secretly desiring what others have, you'll never enjoy what you have. And I'm going to bring it closer to even a home of why it's such a big issue. Let's go back to this Adam and Eve story.
Mm, mm,
He sold her she was by the one tree that
mm.
God told them not to eat. And she was sold the one thing the one thing she felt she didn't have.
Yeah.
She had something greater. She had freedom, but he sold her power.
Mm-hmm.
Because that sounds like the same, but it's not. It's not. He literally played a word trick on sis, right? And so she's over there worried about the one thing, the one tree you can't eat, and not the 50 billion trees your tail can eat.
Yep.
And that's how he gets us playing in his hand every single time. So when you on Facebook and Instagram and you're looking at other people's marriage and what they look like, let me go and give you a key to a red flag. People that's posting their person all day, most of the times they not happy. Because what they doing is they posting so you can think they are. Because in reality, they're not. Because the person that's happy not doing all of that. Let me tell you the truth. I know a lot of couples that are happily married and they ain't posting every day.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying there's something wrong with posting your person. Are you supposed to hide them and pretend like you don't have them? I'm not saying that at all. But it's a if you pay attention to it, it's the way they do it. Especially if they in your city and you know them. Okay, so you see them on Facebook and they go together. But catch them outside. Catch him at Walmart. And he over there clicking a little door handle. Click, get in from over here. Wait. No, not this man. Come on, walk through you ain't gonna melt. You ain't sugar, you ain't gonna melt. Walk through the rain. Let's see how he covering her in. It only looks good. Like, please understand that fool's gold is a real thing. Everything that glitter ain't gold, baby. Everything that glitter ain't gold. And so don't be out here acting like Eve. Over there that one tree, worried about that one thing you don't have, and not looking at the 99 things you have, because that's how the enemy plays you out your spot.
Yes.
Covetousness.
That's good.
I wrote down those verses, so I'm gonna have to go check it out. That's my first time hearing the definition of covetousness, and I really appreciate that too, because that's powerful.
That's good.
You got Miles, the millennial.
Man, what I got is the effects, the things that it does, kind of piggybacking off stuff that you guys said. One, social media makes you more susceptible to the devil by making a lot of things seem like it's just not that serious, right? So, prime example, it doesn't seem like covetousness by that definition because you have a Pinterest vision board that you picked up from everybody in their wedding plans and their rings and all this stuff. And I remember seeing a lady talking about the fact that she started to idolize marriage. She didn't even realize that she made marriage an idol in her life. And to the point that she was so desperate to find a man that was ready to be married that she wasn't focused on finding first her own relationship with God in the right way. Her relationship with God was focused on, God, I need you to give me this. It's like, hold on. That's not how this works. And two, she wasn't in a space to where she could discern whether that man was marriage material in the first place, right? She just wanted that ring. And I think that we see that a lot in social media for men and women, because you don't think it's that serious to have your For You page and your Explore page be nothing but content about all these things that you desire. And you sitting there and the fellas sit there and they think, oh, there's nothing, I follow a few video vixens and IG models and stuff like that. It's nothing. No. That is setting the tone because you don't think it's that serious. And it's a gateway to the next form of your temptation and your flesh being taken over. Because the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that social media gives us this sense that because it's virtual and it's not physical, that the things that we do there is okay. It's just a playground. And, you can live out your fantasies there and it's not serious for the real world, when it's very serious because that algorithm reflects your mind. That's literally designed. The other things that it does, and this is back to that one, it creates an unhealthy appetite to me. Whether that's spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, you become gluttonous on just things that are unhealthy for you. Shoot, me as a foodie, I don't need that much food on my doggone page because all it does is make me say, I know I need to commit to not eating out. But dang, I ain't tried this spot in the city yet. I think I'm gonna have to go slide over there and try that. Now I'm off my plan, right? And in a relationship, when you got the wrong things being pushed to you and reaffirmed to you on social media, it makes you go against the plan. Um, and then the last thing that it does is it doesn't allow you to see the person you love. Instead, you see and you desire, or you chase the person that you desire, right?
That's
So
good.
you sitting there not appreciating, you become a person that doesn't appreciate effort and growth unless it looks postable.
Viral.
Like if whatever you just did for me wasn't something I can take a photo of and show off to my friends or make other people jealous of or be the apple of everybody's eye, like if what you did for me wasn't big enough, audacious enough, gaudy enough, spontaneous enough, whatever it is, then you didn't step for me. That wasn't enough. I deserve more than that, right? And we will chase the
Good.
moment we got something to post. We will chase the moment that even though we have been going through hell with each other in this relationship, we look good tonight. Let's take this photo. I'm gonna put the right caption up, and it's gonna seem all good to the world though. Because you care about their likes and comments and desires and what they slide up and say, oh my God, oh, picture perfect couple. Oh, I can't wait to find a love like this. You chase that. And the men and the women, we both do it. And nobody is exempt for this, right? You don't even know how to appreciate effort and growth if it's not something you can post. And the last thing that it does is it makes you compare where somebody is in their year 30, where you're at in your year 1, your year 5, your year 10.
That's good.
You sitting there and you looking, why is it that this couple that's, they've been married 30 years and they're so peaceful, she don't talk to him that way, he don't talk to her that way, they just seem like they got it all figured out. First off, you don't know if they got it all figured out.
At
Some
all.
people just get real comfortable with just letting BS ride and nobody says nothing. Well, we in it together, we ain't got to be happy, but at least we ain't arguing.
Yeah.
Right? So don't idolize that because you don't know. Rex, you already talked about that, but and Coach, you talked about it too. But the other part about that is let's just say they do have it figured out. Let's just say they are in a place where they realize what isn't worth the argument no more. And they learn how to let their partner have it because it means more to their partner than it means to them. You only are going to learn that through time. You have to go through your journey. You have to go through your struggles. You have to learn certain things the hard way. You have to fall down. A righteous man falls down 7 times, right?
That part.
But gets back up. And that's the key. We're trying to jump through all that. We don't want to fall down at all. We don't want to have to go through that with our partner. You're not ready. You're going to have to go through falling down. But y'all have to do it together. Y'all have to. And so that's the last thing is it makes you sit there and you looking at where somebody else is at who's figured it out. And then you looking at you and your partner. Well, maybe we don't got it. But if you actually sat down and you talk to the people, they'll sit there and tell you, honestly, y'all probably better off than where we was at your age. Like we weren't even having these discussions. We weren't even aware that it was a problem. All we saw was dysfunction. So we thought dysfunction was what it was. That was love. At least y'all know y'all have dysfunction. At least y'all know dysfunction is not the goal in the long run. You can't even appreciate where you're at because you're so focused on where somebody else has gotten.
Man, that's absolutely amazing. I just want to pause there for a moment and ask, do we have any comments or do we have anything from viewers?
I don't see anything on IG. We got a silent crowd, man. I think they just.
Now we got some comments on IG.
Am I not seeing them?
I don't know, but I'm seeing them. So, Real New King in New King says, "Gotta live in real life. Why do we post at all? It's all marketing. You can't appreciate the light without the darkness." He said, "What's up, family? I'm just royalty." He said some shooting eyes. I think it's when I said people who post the most dope, we be real happy, and I said what I said.
it looks like KUWC Era said that was a good question. So I'm not seeing any questions. I'm just definitely seeing comments. C Punch said very true. Fall in love with the journey, not the destination. So our people are definitely they
I think they taking notes tonight. They over there like, let me
Mhm.
write this down. I want to say something before we move on to this though. So covetousness is actually the 10th commandment.
Mm.
So it's found in Exodus 20th chapter, verse 17. And guys, I'll put this in our group text to you guys. But it touched on what you said, Miles, that covetousness is a breeding ground for other sins like murder, adultery, and theft.
Mm.
It also can lead to resentment toward God and jealousy toward neighbors. And it can make people believe that God is unfair in how he's blessed others.
Mm.
So it actually is number 10 of the 10 commandments.
Hold on. I gotta go back to sermon notes from this Sunday. That resentment piece. Hold on, I gotta
Talk
find
about it.
bro. Okay, so hold on. Well, one of the things I have it written down somewhere, but I can't find it in here. But I do remember, um, they were talking about like when you have your plans, but God's timing is different. And how we see God, that's what it was. They said the God you see is the God you get. And it was talking about how
There's Daniels.
Jesus was, what did you say?
Darius Daniels.
I wasn't even watching Darius Daniels.
That's when he talks about the exact same thing.
Okay, gotcha. I need to go watch them because I have like 2 episodes I need to catch up with. But this is actually at Blueprint, and he was talking about how God you see is the God you get, and he referenced that Jesus in his own hometown could not perform the miracles that he wanted to perform because all they saw him as was a carpenter.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the miracle worker, not the Messiah. They saw him, isn't that Joseph's kid? And they're like, what are we talking about here? Jesus couldn't perform those miracles. And what it tells you is like the ability for God to operate in your life is significantly based on the level that you place him at and the type of faith that you really have in him.
That's good.
And he talked about the fact that when you place God at such low expectations, you begin to resent him whenever he says no to what you wanted him to say yes to. But your plan is lower than his. But because you have put him at such a low standard that he's just somebody that does things that you tell him to do. When you tell him to do it, you give him the plan, but it's not asking for his attention to it. Like, yeah, God, this is what I'm gonna do. Thanks in advance. What if I said that's not what I wanted you to do? Right? But because you hold him at such a low standard and then it doesn't happen, now you resent God because you think God ain't there for you. You think God isn't listening. You think that God, doesn't have your back the way he said he had your back. And God, I gave my all to this. I put everything into this and it didn't work out. You said that if I trusted and believed in you, I prayed to you about this, that you would always make it happen. You are God of abundance. Well, why am I living in scarcity? You sitting there with all this resentment towards God because you limited him.
Let me add to that right there. But that's exactly how we treat our partners.
Exactly.
You put him at the lowest level, sis. And then you be mad when he not doing mastery level type of work. We do like legit what you just described. If you just change the title God and put your man name right there, that's what we do in relationships. It's no different. We get accustomed to you being at the house. We feel entitled to you because you mine. And guess what? Now we don't feel like we gotta work for you that hard. Now we think, that's just my house. That's just bricks. You know what I'm saying? We're very dismissive. It's the exact same way we act in relationship with the people you can see. You treat the same God you can't touch the same way you treat the people you can see. Verbatim.
I feel like I think that's the thing, though. That's why your relationship with God is paramount.
Facts.
Because if you can do it with him, it makes doing it with the people in the world easier. Doesn't mean it's not going to be difficult, right? But it's less difficult than what it is when you're trying to do it all by yourself. If you can believe in God and trust in God and can appreciate the grace that God gives you, and you've never physically seen God, But you've seen his work, you've seen his fruit, you've seen his actions, of course. You felt him. But if you can do that, you can't then, and I mean with the truth in your heart, not the way that we have that fake faith, Rex. Not that fake faith. I'm talking about that real faith that's willing to put it on the line and risk it all because you truly believe that God is there for you. When you have that, you can't then go into your relationship and do your partner the complete opposite way. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Because your hypocriticism will scream at you. God will make you see yourself so clear that you'll be disgusted. We got to get right with God. It all starts with our relationship with God.
That's good.
It truly.
The church.
Was there one? The church doors are open.
Is there one today? There might be one today.
That was good. That was real good.
Ooh, we in the zone.
I was checking comments, see if I saw anything. I hadn't seen anything yet.
Okay, so this is how I want to end, guys. A quote came to my mind, and I want us to share one perspective that we take away from this quote, or something that, whatever comes to your heart when you hear it. And I think that's how we want to close out. The quote says, "You can't win if you don't heal within." So you can't win if you don't heal within. And only thing I want is your immediate response to that.
I'll go first, Coach.
And with that,
I'm behind you.
It's funny because my immediate response is what I thought you were going to say, which is you can't win if you're afraid to lose. And I think that that's all about the within, right? If you don't heal within, right? I think about Patrick Mahomes is a good example of this. It don't matter what the circumstance is, how far down he is. Brady had this same mindset. He never thinks he's going to lose. Never too late. He goes into no game, no circumstance, no challenge, thinking that losing is what's going to happen today. Now, of course, they're aware that that's a reality that can come about, but their mindset is solely focused on what do I have to do so that this team wins. It may be an ugly game. They asked Shador Sanders a question about, would you rather be a quarterback that has 40 touchdowns in a year but throws 20 interceptions? High risk, high reward. Or would you rather be a quarterback that throws 20 touchdowns but 5 interceptions? Low reward, low risk, but pretty modest. Shador answered the question the best way I think anybody could have ever answered. He said, whichever one leads to more wins at the end of the season. And I think that that's the mindset that you have to take in love. In everything in life is it don't got to be pretty, it don't got to be perfect, but because you haven't healed within, you go about everything either from the trauma that I'm going to lose or with the expectation that everything's going to be perfect, rather than the mindset that I don't care what it looks like, but winning at the end of the day is what must happen. Me and my partner, we must succeed. This marriage must last. Divorce is not an option, right? And I think that's what I think about. You can't win if you're afraid to lose.
That's amazing. Coach, what you got?
Okay, so my brain went to two things. One of the things that I thought about was actually the key differentiator for the Oneness Institute, and that is helping couples build healthier relationships from the inside out. And then the second thing I thought about was something that my therapist said to me, and she said, "Lauren, you can only love in which the depth that you're willing to be hurt." So if you're not willing to be hurt, the depth in which you're willing to be hurt is the depth in which you can love. Then, if you just feel like the love is shallow, then the depth in which you've gone to give to the other person is shallow too.
That's good.
Jeez, goodness gracious. Well, let me end by saying this then. The quote says, "You can't win if you don't heal within." One of the things I truly appreciate about my journey in finding my wife is taking the time to understand me and to heal me, right? Taking the time to see my blind spots, taking the time to have uncomfortable conversations. and to really analyze where I was failing at, right? If I've been in 6 relationships and all 6 relationships failed, I can't always point the blame on them because the common denominator is me, right? What is it about my behaviors? What is it about my actions? What is it about the lack of my leadership that calls for 6 relationships to fail? What is it about my discernment that caused me to choose 6 different people?
Mm.
Right. So it's taking a look at who you are, where you currently are, and what areas can you grow. And now when I realized that, I then asked myself, who do I need to be connected to learn from? It's time for me to learn. If I've never been exposed to healthy relationships and marriages, then I need to be exposed to those type of things. If I want to build something, how am I going to build something I never saw before? How am I going to build something I never studied before?
Yeah.
How am I going to build something that I've never even inquired about how you even built that thing before?
Yeah.
Right. And I had to learn that, Rex, although you may think you have all the answers, you still have failed relationships. You still ain't found the answer to this. And I remember, last thing I'm going to say, I was starting to write my book, starting from scratch, right? The Intentional Guide to Dating. And I hit writer's block heavy after I hit like 5,000 words. And I'm praying like, God, what's wrong? And I just heard him say, how you going to write about something you ain't completed?
Ooh, Rex.
How you gonna say start from scratch and you still at scratch, buddy?
Yeah.
so it was a hard pill to swallow, but I said, you're right. It's time to go back to the drawing boards.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am 2 years later, and I'm married now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Partially, right? So that's the thing. You can't win if you don't heal within, and it starts with you. It starts with you. Uncover those blind spots, do the hard work, get right with God, and then everything else will come.
I love it. I love it. This is amazing. As we close out, I just want to remind everybody, Rex said something very important about who do you need to be around in order for you to grow, right? Where and when and the people you need to be connected to. And that's the goal of what we're doing here, guys, is to provide you with the resources so that in your journey, whether you are a single person right now, whether you're moving towards marriage in a long-term relationship, whether you are married in year 5 or year 50, be able to have foundational conversation and principles that are going to allow you to succeed.
Yeah.
So guys, if you're looking for that, if you know you're in need of that, if you know that you have tried it your way enough and you need some help, we are inviting you on a journey with us so that you can get what you need.
Yeah.
The way you're going to do that is that pinned comment for that newsletter, sign up for it. It's not going to harm you none. It's free. Okay. You don't have to go in and sign up and pay $200 a month to access this information, guys.
Not if you don't want to.
Not if you don't want to. Now, we'll take all donations, but sign up and get the help that you need. Have the resources around you that are going to allow you to go from scratch to that ring.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
That's good.
And we thank you guys. Does anybody have anything else they want to say before we close?
Last thing I want to say is if you need coaching or counseling, you need some help, if you need that little extra push to get your relationship from here to here, we have 2 options. Option number 1, Coach Lauren's going to drop her link and her information about joining her programs that she offers for couples. And then option number 2, if there's trauma that's attached to that and you need to uncover a little bit of trauma before you can really step into a couple's work, then go to resolvecc.com and book a session with you. Book a session with me and I'll make sure I get you taken care of.
I love it, guys.
And if you're on the list, you're gonna get the email with the link in there. See?
All in one spot. Well, we appreciate you guys. Coach, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was done. I was saying this was good.
Absolutely. It's an amazing conversation. We thank God for the way that he's continuing to work and bless us. And we will talk to you guys again next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace. And we are ending out.